Hello everybody, Mega Goal 2, 11 for meaning and function, pages 64 and 65. Now before I start the lesson, I'd like to say something, which is everything. I'm gonna write here even the summaries for this grammar lesson and also the answer key to the given exercises. Everything I'm gonna post on my Instagram, Ms. Zahra FA. So if you would like, you can follow me on Ms. Zahra FA. كل حاجة راح أذكرها هنا يعني سواء تلخيص أو كتابة بالإضافة إلى الإجابة للأسئلة المعطاة عندنا بنزلها على صفحتي على الانستغرام Ms. Zahra FA. فإذا حبيتوا بإمكانكم متابعتي. Okay. So right now, please move on to pages 64 and 65. And the first thing, as usual, we do is looking at the objectives. Now, the first one, independent clauses with and, but, or, so, and yet. The second one, the past with dependent time clause. The third objective is expressing enthusiasm with intensifier and adjectives. Now, the fourth objective is conditional sentences with the present and future forms. And the last one, and the fifth objective is express necessity and lack of necessity. As you could see, this is going to be a long lesson, so I want you to focus with me as I explain this lesson. So right now, please move on to pages number 64 and 65, and please follow up with me as I explain this lesson. Just a reminder, the title of this unit is for I Wonder What Happened, 11 for meaning and function, pages 64 and 65. Now, the first thing we will be looking at is something which is not included in this lesson, but it is very relevant. It is relevant to the lesson and very important to understand this concept. That's why I'm gonna explain it to you. أول حاجة راح أتطرق لها اللي هي شيء مو مذكور في كتابكم لكن لا علاقة بالقواعد اللي عندكم وجدا مهم إنكم تفهمونه. So a clause. What is a clause? Now, a clause or clauses actually is a collective phrase that has a subject or collective phrases that have subject and verb. الclause هي عبارة عن a collective phrase تحتوي على subject وماذا؟ وverb. Okay. مثل ما تشوفون هنا she ate the apple. Okay. ففيها فاعل وفيها فعل. Any clause is a collective phrase that has a subject and a verb. Now clauses, okay, الclauses تنقسم إلى قسمين. Dependent clauses and independent clauses. Dependent clauses يعني من اسمها يعني غير مستقلة. Okay. طبعا for example when I arrive home. طبعا as you could see this is a clause which has a subject and a verb. Okay. فيها subject to verb but it doesn't give a complete meaning. Okay. And cannot stand alone in a sentence. بمعنى أنه when I arrive home فيها صحيح فاعل وفعل لكن لا تعطي معنى كامل للجملة. It doesn't give a complete thought. It cannot stand alone in a sentence. يعني مثلا لما يقول when I arrive home هل تعطي معنى كامل؟ هل بإمكانكم فهم الفكرة؟ لا. فهنا أسميها dependent clause. Okay. So dependent clause cannot give a complete sentence or cannot stand alone in a sentence. طبعا في المقابل عندنا something which is called independent clauses. Independent clauses يعني اللي هي clauses المستقلة اللي إيش مثلا this is our school. مثل ما انتم شايفين any clause مثل ما قلت لكم عنده في okay في subject this is our school. okay في subject وفي طبعا this is يعني this is an our school. Now as you could see it has a subject and a verb. All right. Now it can give a complete idea and for يعني مثلا I ate this apple. I ate خليني أوضح لكم جملة أفضل من هذه I ate this apple or this orange. This is what a clause. It has a subject and a verb. فعل وفاعل. And also gives you a complete thought, a complete meaning, and it can stand alone in a sentence. يعني تعطيك فكرة كاملة واضحة وبإمكانك فهمها يعني بخلاف a dependent clause. So right now I hope that you understand the difference between dependent clauses and independent clauses. كلاهما في subject to verb, لكن a dependent clause cannot stand alone in a sentence. It doesn't give a complete meaning. But the independent clause, it can stand alone in a sentence and gives you a complete thought. Alright? Now let's move on to the first thing which is supposed to cover, or which you are supposed to cover in this lesson. So independent clauses, and, or, so, and yet. Alright? As I said previously, an independent clause expresses a complete thought and can stand alone in a sentence. مثل ما وضحت لكم مسبقا an independent clause تعطي فكرة كاملة وممكن يكون الحالة في الجملة. Now an independent clause مثل ما قلت لكم أو two or more independent clauses can be combined with coordinating conjunction. يعني مثلا عندي two or more independent clauses can be combined with coordinating conjunction. بس قبل أعطيكم مثال على ال independent clause. A meteorite crashed through the two-story house. This is an independent clause. It has a subject and a verb. فيها فعل وفاعل. And also it expresses a complete thought and can stand alone in a sentence. تعطيكم فكرة كاملة وبإمكانها يعني جملة واحدة تفهمون المعنى. Alright? Now, as I said previously, two or more than two independent clauses can be combined with coordinating conjunction word. بإمكاني إني أربط two أو أكثر من اثنين independent clause مع اللي نسميها coordinating conjunction words. شنو coordinating conjunction words؟ اللي هي but, and, or, so, yet. طبعا ممكن تسألون شو الفرق بينهم. عارفين but لما يكون فيه الفكرة construct، يعني لما يكون فيه تناقض في الفكرة. alright? And لما تكون ال ideas the same. or اللي هي لما يكون فيه اختيار. So النتيجة yet has a similar meaning to but. لها تقريبا نفس معنى but. Now مثل ما قلنا الآن بنسوي عندنا two or more than two independent clauses, and what we are supposed to do is that we have to combine يعني نجعلهم جملة واحدة with coordinating conjunction words. طبعا على أي أساس بستخدم ال coordinating conjunction word؟ على حسب المعنى. Now the first one, neighbors says that they hear a terrific noise. No one reported to the police. طبعا أنا ما راح أعيد كتابتها بس عشان الوقت. فهنا what you are gonna do is you are gonna use so, sorry, no, not so. هنا neighbors said they hear a terrific noise. Okay, no one reported to the police. هنا yet أو but. Okay, yet. وطبعا بس أوضح لكم إن we have to place a comma before the coordinating conjunction. لازم يكون قبلها comma. Alright, so let me just clear this. Okay, noise. نادرة. So yet before it you have to place a comma. طبعا بالنسبة punctuation is very important. بما أنكم ربطتوا جملتين ببعض فمعناها الجملة الثانية راح تكون تبدأ بsmall letter unless if it has to be capitalized. Anyways, alright, now Mr. and Mrs. Fawcett's house was destroyed. They moved. Okay, واضح إن هنا راح أستخدم so. So here we have مثل ما أنتم عارفين two independent clauses. We are gonna combine them or join them. نربطهم ونسويهم جملة واحدة باستخدام coordinating conjunction which is so. طبعا هنا راح أحط so على مثل ما قلت لكم على أي أساس. طبعا تحسوا بي أول شيء أمسح مثل ما انتم شايفين أمسح الفول ستوب لأني بسميهم جملة واحدة هنا so. طبعا before it you have to place a comma ومثل ما وضحت لكم this has to be in a small letter. anyways واضح على أي أساس استخدمت so من معنى الجملة فهمت. وأحيانا يعطيكم إنه use so أو مثلا استخدمي so استخدمي but وهكذا. alright, so also we have a couple of sentences to look at. It is raining hard. There is a lot of lightning. Okay, so what you are gonna do is you are gonna combine them باستخدام and. فمثل ما انتم عارفين I'm gonna راح أمسح الفول ستوب وراح أبدأ small letter. الجملة الثانية تبدأ small letter لأن الحين شو اللي سويتها I combined them يعني جمعتهم سويتهم جملة واحدة باستخدام coordinating conjunction word. طبعا وقبلها we have to place a comma. Now he didn't want to walk in the rain. He took a taxi. هنا I'm gonna use so لذا. alright, so مثل ما وضحت لكم so before it طبعا. وهنا punctuation is very important يعني إن أنا انتبه للكابيتال والسمول letter والكوما يعني مهم جدا. Now he doesn't live far away. He always drives. alright, هنا I'm gonna use yet and but لأن في construct idea يعني تناقض في الفكرة. So here you can say yet or as I said previously but comma he لأني مسحتها small letter always drives. Now let's take a look at the last sentence. We could go to a restaurant. We could stay home and watch TV. مثل ما قلت لكم or is used when you have a choice اختيار. So you can say or. Okay, we comma before or. Oh, sorry, before or. طبعا ممكن تختصرون وممكن تقولون we could go to a restaurant or stay home and watch TV. Both sentences are considered to be accurate. Alright, now let's move on to the next thing which is the past with dependent time clause. الماضي مع dependent time clause. Now when we talk about past events using so we can as it's written here بإمكاننا إن احنا نتكلم عن الأحداث الماضية باستخدام what is called a time clause. alright, باستخدام time clause. طبعا شنو أستخدم معاهم when, as soon as, before, after, while, until and since. القاعدة تقول time clause يكون في الماضي. طبعا time clause اللي راح يبدأ when أو before أو as soon as. طبعا وإذا بدأنا بالtime clause لازم يكون في comma بعدها المين clause في past perfect. فالtime clause يكون في الماضي البسيط simple past لكن المين clause يكون في past perfect. خلينا نشوف. They arrived home. They discovered to their amazement that a meteorite had crashed through the roof. أوضح لكم مرة ثانية. So they arrived home, alright, is a dependent clause. Okay, they discovered to their amazement that the meteorite had crashed through the roof as well. خلاص. So أنا الآن شو اللي بستخدم اللي هي when. فهنا this will be a time clause. When they arrived home دائما أحط comma. alright, إذا أنا طبعا بديت time clause. طبعا وهنا this is the main clause. Okay, so it will be they discovered to their amazement that a meteorite had crashed. طبعا لو تلاحظون إن هنا مثل ما وضحت لكم القاعدة time clause في أي زمن في past simple past. alright, comma لأني بديت بالtime clause والtime clause بدأ طبعا when. وهنا المين clause فيها الباست perfect اللي هي had والتصريف الثالث للفعل main clause. طبعا هنا مثل ما وضحت لكم when we talk about a past event we use a time clause with when, as soon as, before, after, while, until and since. okay طبعا واضح عندكم الآن. okay you have to be very careful when you start with the time clause. You have to place a comma after it. Now let's move on to the next thing, which is expressing enthusiasm with intensifiers and adjectives. كيف الواحد يعبر عن الحماس أو الإثارة باستخدام الانتنسيفاير والصفات. طبعا شو المقصود بالانتنسيفايرز اللي هو really, very, quite, absolutely وهكذا. هذول أسميها intensifier. sorry I've written really twice, كتبت really twice بس anyways, and quite كتبتها twice. so very, really, absolutely, quite, these are what we call intensifier. we use them to express enthusiasm, الحماس أو الإثارة. anyways قبل ما ننتقل للشرح بس أوضح لكم أن الادجectives تنقسم إلى نوعين: gradable adjectives and non-gradable adjectives. The gradable adjectives مثل scary, good, interesting, small, big. Non-gradable مثل terrifying, amazing, fascinating, tiny, massive. طبعا مع الgradable تستخدمون إما very, really, quite. مع non-gradable تستخدمون absolutely, really and quite. مثلا it is absolutely amazing, it is very scary. alright. طبعا to express enthusiasm. لو تلاحظون ان really تستخدم مع gradable and non-gradable صحيح ولها نفس المعنى. alright, which means what? which means a lot. alright. okay, now let's take a look at quite. now quite لو لاحظتوا تستخدم مع gradable وال non-gradable لكن المعنى يختلف. it is quite small. so here small is considered to be a gradable. small من الصفات اللي تعتبر gradable، صفات gradable. فهنا لما استخدمت quite معها جات بمعنى a little. قليل. هنا it is massive. لما هنا مثلا استخدم the intensifier quite هنا massive تعتبر a non-gradable adjective. alright. لكن هنا quite معناها completely. it is quite massive. it is completely massive. أتمنى أنكم فهمتوا الفكرة. برجع أعيدها باختصار أن نستخدم الانتنسيفاير اللي هي very, really, quite, absolutely مع الصفات. لكن الصفات تنقسم إلى قسمين: gradable adjectives مثل scary, good وهكذا، non-gradable مثل terrifying و amazing و tiny و massive. طيب الانتنسيفاير نحطها قبل الصفات. لكن عندي كلمة الانتنسيفاير really تستخدم مع gradable و non-gradable وتعطي معنى a lot. لكن quite حسب نوع الادجكتيف. إذا كانت gradable فتعني a little. إذا كانت non-gradable قبل non-gradable تعني completely. alright. now let's move on to the next thing, which is something you have already studied and learned, but this is also included in the lesson as well, which is conditional sentences. now conditional sentences with present and future forms اللي هي الجمل الشرطية. now we use conditional sentences with if to talk about real causes and results. الأسباب والنتائج. خلاص. if you do that you will, for example. now also you can also sometimes replace the if with when. ممكن تحل محل if when. alright. so the first thing we will be looking at is if with the present. if مع المضارع. We use if with the present to talk about facts, الحقائق. alright? When something is always true. يعني مثلا سويت هالشيء اليوم، سويته بكرة، سويته يعني بالأمس، النتيجة واحدة. القاعدة تقول if present comma لما تبدأ بالif clause. alright? second clause or main clause يكون في present. مثلا if you cook an egg in the microwave it explodes. لو تلاحظون هنا if clause هنا cook في ال present. المين clause طبعا لما نبدأ بالif clause يكون comma. المين clause فيها present. طبعا انتوا عارفون third person singular دائما ياخذ الفعل is. الفكرة انه هذه حقيقة always true. إذا طبخت مثلا البيضة في الميكروويف راح تنفجر. If you cook an egg in the microwave, it explodes. This is a fact. Alright? Now let's move on to the second thing, which is future fact. الحقائق طبعا في المستقبل. القاعدة تقول if present مضارع will main clause في will. If Ali gets, so here we have if هنا present مضارع ومثل ما انتم عارفين third person singular ياخذ الفعل is. اوكي المين clause فيها will. طبعا تتكلم عن حقائق في المستقبل. If Ali gets the job he will be happy or he'll be happy or he'll be very happy. حقائق في المستقبل. alright? Now the last thing, which is may and might. We use may and might in the result clause. okay في ال result clause. يعني مش في ال if clause لا في ال result clause النتيجة. alright? So we use it to suggest that something is possible but not certain. عشان يعني توضح إن شيء ممكن لكن مش أكيد. طبعا القاعدة تقول if present والresult clause يكون فيها may and might. طبعا بس أوضح لكم إن بعد may و might الverb يجي في basic form. okay verb in the basic form يعني بدون أي إضافات. شوف if Nora doesn't do the homework she may or might fail the test. طبعا هنا لو تلاحظون ال if simple present ال result clause فيها may أو might to suggest that something is possible لكن ممكن يكون not certain. يعني ممكن يكون إذا نورا ما حلت الواجبات ممكن إنها she may fail the class. alright? But possible but not certain لكن مش أكيد. Now I hope that you have understood this part, and right now I have summarized this grammar rules. لخصتها لكم. If clauses, present fact, future fact, may and might. طبعا I'm gonna go through it very quickly. Present fact, if a present. If you put water in the freezer, it becomes ice. Future fact, if a present, well, أو ممكن تكون be going to. Now, if he doesn't go to college, he will be sorry. May and might, if a present will result to clause يكون فيها may and might. مثل ما قلت لكم توضح إن something is possible but not certain. If Imad doesn't go to college, he might not have a job. Alright? So this is regarding this, and right now let's move on to the last thing, which is expressing necessity and lack of necessity. باختصار كيف أعبر عن الحاجة إلى الشيء أو قلة الحاجة إلى الشيء باستخدام need to, have to, don't need to and needn't. ممكن don't need to أو needn't. طبعا بس أوضح لكم إن بعدهم دائما يجي الverb في البيسك form. Okay, so verb no ending. This is as well verb no ending. No ending أو basic form as well as here. Okay, بس أوضح لكم هذا الشيء لأنه جدا مهم أنكم تعرفون أن الفعل يجي في basic form. Okay, فهنا بختصرها بحط basic form. Now, as you could see, what should I do if I see something strange in the sky? Here, to express necessity and lack of necessity, you need to video or photograph the object. Okay, You have to call مثل ما وضحت لكم an expert to get their opinion. You do not need to or needn't طبعا هذا في negative form. Worry. Strange things fall out of the sky on a regular basis all around the world. Alright? So that's it. أتمنى أنكم استفدتوا من الدرس. I know it has been a very long lesson, but this is يعني I thought that I should يعني إني أشرح everything in details. طبعا بالنسبة للملخص للقاعدات بنزلها على الانستقرام، بحط لكم رابط الصفحة وكذلك رابط التلقرام، فإذا حابين you can follow me on Instagram and also join my Telegram channel. That's it. Till next time.